YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this amazing, ready to fly Coast Guard heli. This thing is so beautiful. It looks literally like a model you could put on your table and enjoy it from even up close, folks. It does come ready to fly, by the way. And yes, it has squishy tires. Yes, squishy tires. That is so cool. And then the doors do open, which is amazing. And there is a light. We're gonna get this thing turned on though. Make sure that both sides are snapped. It kind of loads in funny. Pressing and holding for a second until all the lights come on. And then you can see that flashy flashlight. Just let it do its thing, guys. This thing has GPS, all sorts of cool functions on it. We probably won't even get through all of them today, but just look at that. Our sun just set and we got wind. It has gone red. I don't know if that means I can fly it yet. I think it goes green eventually. But as you can see, it has determined the direction that it's facing and all sorts of cool things. It seems to be moving. It's in unlocked mode. Don't drop it to locked unless you want to have it crash. And then there is some different settings here and some different settings here. And I can't remember what most of them do, but let's just see what happens. Okay, so we have up and we have down. We're in auto. I don't know if I want to do the one touch takeoff. Probably that's what I want to do. So, okay, so those are good. That's a return to home all the way down. And I think this is the one touch takeoff. And I'm not sure if it's maybe it just doesn't have.
No, that's the heart in circle mode.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so then up we go. Okay, now ready to dock. Okay, here we go. Oh, that is so cool. Guys, look at this. I've never touched it for trim at all, and it's flying itself. That's amazing. Totally amazing and absolutely beautiful, guys. And by the way, show them the windsock. Let's go over and show them the windsock, folks. The windsock is basically telling the tale. There is wind. And look how amazing that thing looks right now. It is getting jostled by the legitimate wind. I am, by the way, making it spin for beauty effects. When I let go, of course, it stops. And as you can see, this thing is legit solid. That is so cool. And the light on front is actually bright enough that it can be seen too. So we have lots of good lighting. Yes, you can take the light off, and yes, you can put on an FPV camera, which we did get with ours. Now, I must say I was a little bit disappointed. I had made up in my mind stupidly that I thought this transmitter would have a screen on it. There is a screen and it's got the display for the information about the heli. Yes. Not so much gonna be a display that indicates what's coming out of the camera. Now, obviously the camera's on. I can't believe how trustworthy. I mean, this is literally the first time we've flown this thing. So you may remember another heli we did earlier this year, or actually it would have been last year, and that heli would fly upside down and all sorts of crazy things. So yes, of course, I believe this also does the same thing. And I'm talking about let go of the sticks and it does that sort of thing, not 3D pilot required. And I must say, in 50% gains, this is really, really easy to fly. So I'm gonna just see what happens when I switch modes. Nothing, okay. So that's good. Now that light will go green eventually, I believe, if you switch to GPS mode, okay? Now I'm just gonna, for grins, and I'm talking about the red light on the top, I just wanna see what return to home does. Oh, there's GPS.
There was green.
So I'm in GPS mode, okay? So that is pretty amazing and totally cool. So I'm gonna go back to red and just see what happens. Nothing really seems to change that much. This thing is so dang solid. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bring it back over toward us a little bit. Very little drift, and absolutely that thing looks fantastic in the air. It looks super realistic. And I'm just gonna go over the top. Everybody involved in this video is involved in this video, so don't worry. Direct drive brushless motors on both the front and the back. So obviously on the main rotor and on the tail, we have brushless motors. And I'm thrilled by this. It reminds me of the Blackhawk, but it's got all the cool and amazing features that you don't need if you know how to fly a heli, but you want if you want it to be easy. And I mean, what's so cool about this for me, I am not really a heli pilot. I can do it, but I'm not like that good at it. And I love that I can sit here and just look at it. And I'm tempted to go up and Enrique that thing, but I'm not going to because I don't want to end up like him. So we're gonna go into GPS and see what happens. See, this just lets me have a little bit more free reign. And then if you get to a certain height, I believe you can flip it over. It is easier to fly in this mode for me. I feel like I have a little bit more of a longer leash, a little easier to get around. Absolutely, the altitude hold is amazing. I believe this uses an optical setting or a GPS setting. And so you can have either or. So if you're flying indoors, you can go to the optical. If you're flying outdoors, you could go to the GPS. But I mean, look how amazing that looks. My camera crew isn't even cringing or being scared, which, I mean, maybe that's to her detriment and mine also, because I'm right behind her. She'd be knocking me over on the way to the garage door to protect herself.
Yes.
And I just love the way that thing looks. Let's bring it out by the trees just to show you. It's windier out here, of course. We're gonna go pick up our first patient. As you can see, it just does what it's doing, and it's like absolutely no problems. Let's see if we can kick up some snow. This snow has been long frozen, yes. So I don't know if it's gonna be blowing around for us. This is what I really want. It does look sweet. It's like totally from the Deadlier Catch or whatever that show is that has all sorts of royalties attached to it, and I don't wanna get sued. But yes, that is amazing. Now guys, I must say, again, remember, I am not an expert pilot. Let's see if it'll return to home. I'm always scared to do it the first couple times. Let's go back a bunch of steps and let it do its thing. Of course, I'm not even looking at it. I'm just standing here being a victim of GPS. So let's see what happens. Have you found home yet? I don't know if I ever actually told it where home is. So it might be kind of like in a rejection notice right now. Oh, no, it's landing. And now granted, that's a few feet off. That is a really good landing. It's on the mains. Oh my goodness, even the camera crew could fly this. Now, do you hear it?
It's like a really long,
you hear it slowing down? That is so cool. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna kill it. It's in killed mode, meaning this thing's down. Now I'm gonna go back up to the regular flight mode. I'm gonna go back to unlocked. And what I wanna do is, I don't know if I need to do this to maybe learn my home position, but I'm gonna go ahead and just try to take off, sticks down and out, arm it, and then go ahead and hold that stick to get off the ground. Oh, that is so sweet, guys. Let's go up by this backdrop of gorgeous, God-given backdrop. This sunset is amazing. And guys, what a beautiful sunset. It gives us all the opportunity to show off this amazing bird. And also, gotta love the fact that there's LEDs all over it. And by the way, if you're making a heli right now and you're not covering it in LEDs, then you are crazy. Oh no, our patients are dying. We need to land. Okay, return to home. Do it quick. Now, I'm gonna be prepared just in case. Remember, victims of GPS here. I haven't even showed you the coolest thing where it flies upside down. But I definitely will, in the Unbox Build radio setup, show you how the camera adapts and how it works. And it is true FPV camera. It is not some gimmicky BS thing that this random manufacturer put in here.
That was even closer.
And yes, there is a model number, but I have no clue what it is.
Yeah.
So you have to check the link for the video description and you will see exactly where you can buy one for yourself. This thing is absolutely cool. Let's listen. Oh, I love watching it slow down. It's just cool. Like a real one. That is so sweet. Guys, it isn't even destroyed yet. I haven't crashed it yet. That'll be like 1 for 3.
It's been like a whole 9 minutes.
So throttle cuts on or hold or whatever that is, or kill switch. And there's auto and manual. So that's where you'd be able to go in and do your flips and things like that. And then there's also a mode. So you can see we're in a return to home. And then I think that's another return to home. And then you can press and take pictures and you can go from high rates to low rates. So I was in high rates. I would have been able to go ahead and pitch the helicopter a little bit more. But guys, can you argue with how amazing it looks? It looks ultra realistic. It's very obvious that we're in a low battery condition because all the lights have decided to flash. And if you're a know-nothing pilot, meaning you know enough to fly like one of those little drones that you get for $30 around Christmas time, you can totally fly this thing. But just remember, don't fly it in manual mode or you will be replacing it or getting some stitches, which I already heard about today. So that was from our predecessor to this one, which looked like a Black Hawk. And of course, this is a Black Hawk, it's just painted different. But absolutely gorgeous heli. And by the way, full disclosure, if you guys wanna know how that ended, I flew it out over by where the windsock is. and I got sideways. Evidently helicopters don't fly sideways. I don't know who would have thought that. So it went, whee, boom. I was in manual mode. It was a BP error. That's all I got to say. This thing is amazing. I love it. Okay, I'm in locked mode, so I should be safe to pick this up. Camera crew is gonna hold that for just a minute. And just absolutely love the way this thing looks. We also didn't lose our tires today, which is really nice.
True.
That was something that we had with the olive drab version we did not too long ago. And also be careful because that motor on the bottom in warmer conditions might get warm. I'm feeling it. It feels warm through double nitrile gloves. It's cold right now. And yes, if you guys are wondering why I wear these things, it's because this isn't just for show. It's actually really cold out. It actually hurts to film when it's this cold, but we love doing this stuff so much that we do it for you right now in the cold because we want to keep the content coming, and this thing is amazing. And we want you to have one for your very own. I am going to try to throw in another battery and see if we can get it to fly upside down, so stay tuned right now. Okay, so we swapped batteries, which means I had to pull the little light off the end and put it on the new battery. We'll show that in the Unbox build radio setup. But without further ado, we're going to take this thing off, sticks down and out to arm it. Oh, I was in my kill switch, sticks down and out to arm it. Let everything spool up. Get her in the air. Oh yeah. And guys, there's more than likely a couple of different ways to skin this cat, but just to be clear, we have a red light on top, which means we don't have our GPS quite established yet. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead and, or excuse me, I am in the mode that has that light red. So now I'm going to switch into high rates also. So here's high rates. So now you can see, or maybe you can't see, there's not a ton difference, but as you can see, the wind has picked up just a hair as well. And what are these birds doing? Shouldn't you be like down in Mexico or something? Guys, I gotta say, this thing looks, sounds, and flies amazing for what it is. Now I'm gonna go to low rates again, just full disclosure. And as I let go of the sticks, you'll note that there's a little bit of wonk going on. I think it's just trying to stay on top of the wind conditions. Now I'm gonna go noteworthy, I'm gonna go a little bit higher, and I'm gonna just go into GPS. And I'm gonna try out here where it's less likely to be destroyed in a million pieces. Okay, so there's, okay, now I think if you hit mode, it's like mode and back stick or something like that. Mode and up stick. So I might not be high enough. I think you have to be like 10 meters high maybe. Oh yeah, that is freaking nuts, guys. And look, guys, that is flying itself. I'm just giving it some help. Oh, that is so cool, guys. And the camera crew has had a small heart attack. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And by the way, no, I was not doing that. Yes, I can crash them doing that, but I'm just gonna go ahead and land it because our light's getting low. And just showing you. Hopefully you can see both. Oh yeah. Ooh, that's a little scary. When it points the light at you and it's like, come to the edge of the vessel. Come to the edge of the vessel. Get in the thing that we dropped down in the middle of the terrible storm.
A little metal basket to swing around in.
Pick up your arm and get in the basket with it. Yes. Yeah, that arm, not the other arm. Leave that arm. There's no helping Johnny. So as you can see, guys, that is crazy. And I'm not even looking. That is cool.
That's cool.
So guys, if you have to argue with how cool that is, I know some of you are gonna say, hey, listen, I wanna fly it like I stole it. Okay, I'm gonna show you how bad it looks when we do this. Okay, I am going to unlock, arm it, like that, it sticks down and out. I'm gonna go ahead and take off. Okay, so this is real quick. Now, I don't like where the manual stick is. You see this? It's way up here in a spot where it's hard for me to get to. Since I'm not a pincer grip style, I fly with my thumbs. So I'm gonna just show you how terrible this could look. Now I can go right back to manual or right back to auto. Get up there. What are you doing? Get up there. I wonder if it's anticipating some sort of a conflict with its altitude. Yes, because I'm not in GPS. Okay, now I'm in GPS and look at that, I can go higher. Okay, so now I'm coming out of GPS and look what it does. It's gonna return to that altitude. Okay, so within GPS, now I'm gonna show you. So here now, this is think this is manual, where it still seems like it's auto leveling the thing because I'm not that good of a pilot. So I'm gonna go back at a manual and I'm gonna bring it back to home right now from all the way over there. So to be clear, there are different modes and you can do this thing however you wanna do it. And that is really freaking cool watching that light come at us. And I gotta say guys, what a sweet little Coast Guard style helicopter. And by the way, if you're gonna take this thing out and fly it 3 times and then put it on your shelf as a display piece, I mean, there is not a better model to waste 550 bucks or 600 bucks on than this thing, because it is so cool. And by the way, you can charge the batteries. It comes with all the good stuff you want. I got mine with 2. I think you can get them with up to 3 and as low as 1. But I mean, that is a gorgeous, perfect landing too. And I'm so glad we filmed it in this terrible light because you got to see the LEDs. I love listening to it. That is so cool. This spools down. So guys, unexpected UH-60 or whatever it is. It's a Coast Guard helicopter.
Check the link. Just
check the link. Buy one for yourself. Help support Brian Phillips RC and also our new partner at RC Going. Well, actually, old partner. We just haven't done anything for a long time. So check it out. It's down there in the video description below. You'll be helping to support our channel and the people that help keep us on the air, so to speak. And we appreciate you guys watching. Also, if you haven't got the means of ordering this, or you don't want this particular helicopter, you've already got it, or whatever the reasoning is, but you still want to support us financially and not just by smashing the like button, clicking the bell for notifications, and subscribing if you haven't already, then what you can do is you can check out our Patreon and PayPal down below. We have what are we up to, like 36 or so on Patreon, which is super cool. It's really encouraging for us. We have that monthly support that comes in. It helps a lot. Obviously, it's not like we're living on it or anything, but it's really handy to have that little bit to help with buying glue for my crashes. So, I mean, that covers about half my glue need for the year. Yeah, for the month. Sorry, the truth finally came out. So anyway, so guys, if you like watching me crash stuff that I shouldn't be crashing because I shouldn't be flying when it's this crappy out, then you're in the right place. And if you want to learn how to fly and you want to be crazy like me too, you're at the right place, Brian Phillips RC. We're glad to have you. And then also we have PayPal too if you don't like monthly support. I don't know if I said that, but we love this thing. Super cool, super fantastic. And I actually like the colors a lot better than the olive drab that was in the other Blackhawk. But my only complaint is I did not like the fact that I was stupid and thought that this was going to be the camera feed. And that would have been so cool. Even though it would have been really crappy quality, it would have been nice to have everything there. But now you can put on your Oculus goggles or whatever goggles you have that do FPV with. Is that what I have? What do I have? Fat Shark. I have Fat Shark.
Yeah.
And so the Fat Shark goggles, I pressed channel like 6 times and it was on.
Yep.
And we do share that. So if you stay tuned for the unbox, which will immediately follow this, you can see what we ran into. So if you see my desperation and just all the wind comes straight out of my sails and everything just go woo limp, you'll understand, because I thought it was gonna go on the screen. I got over it really quick when I saw that thing in the air, because it is super cool.
For sure.
So check it out. I know you guys want one. Stay tuned. So much more from Brian Phillips RC. YouTube, Brian Phillips. We have a box. We're gonna open it right now. Here we go. So this is something that's new and exciting and comes to you just like the other ones, except in a box. So I'm quite excited.
It's kind of a heavy box.
Holy cow, what is this, a bomb case? That is so sweet. Are you kidding me? I had no idea this thing was gonna come in that. That is so cool. What? That is amazing. That, I had no idea. So this is the F09-S, which has all sorts of sensors. It's made by Xiang, if I'm saying that right, Xiang.
Sure, that sounds
Let's
great.
open the bomb case right now. Let's just do it. Whoa. That is something special. We have not seen that before, and that was like the easiest unboxing ever, by the way. So very excited to see this. Now, one of the reasons I really like this Heli is, well, first of all, it looks sweet. And so normally we don't do this until the end, but we're gonna do it right now in the unboxing. Wow, that is like so beautiful and so sweet. And yes, it does look a lot like the Blackhawk we did not too long ago, because it's believably the same Heli, but this one comes with some extra features and you can't even see them yet. It's still got the squishy tires, which is awesome and proves that it can be done, airplane people. And yes, there are opening doors, which is super, super cool. There's not really much to them. They just barely go. But just all the details. Squishy tire even on the tail. Brushless motor here and brushless motor here, as in direct drive. That's the bottom of the brushless motor. So absolutely gorgeous. Even the hand grips on the side. Look at this. It is just like real. And I love that it's so scale and so detailed. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. So now that being said, the additional little tidbit, we have some extra props, and then we have a light. There's a light that's in there. Now, I'm not sure if that light's gonna go into it or not, but as you can see, there's a little camera there, okay? So that camera, of course, is a function of the front of the Heli has an adapter.
Oh.
So that's pretty sweet. And the batteries are just like what we had on that Blackhawk. And so it's got a hard case battery. It's got all the pins here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pins. So that's a little bit weird. And this is a 3S battery. So there's some additional pins in there doing some things to pass down to the bottom, okay? So a little bit of schmutz from the foam, that's unusual. And there, it looks like there's a position for 3. And then this is a charger, okay? Oh, that's sweet. So you can use a regular charger if you have an XT30. Yeah. So as you plug this in, this is gonna allow you to charge it. Now, this comes with an adapter, and the adapter will charge your battery, 3 or 4 cells, and it goes into this. And if you have a, I think this is a Japanese plug.
Or European.
Or European. They've got an adapter here for a 240 application. So I don't need that, but I am just gonna show you this charging real quick because this is a little bit unusual. I got a glimpse of that and it looked red for a second. Oh. Okay, so we'll lay this down.
That seems like a heavy duty cord and stuff.
Yeah, which is nice.
Unusual.
So we're gonna plug this into the wall outlet. I do like that we have this nice cable. It's like a real AC cable. Okay, and then there's something protective cover here. So that's kind of weird. Oh, it's actually a display of voltage. So sweet, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna plug this in now, just the balance lead, and just on 3 cell. So it says 0. 11.8 volts. And I'm not sure how exactly you get that to start or if it just starts on its own. I would assume that it's like actually charging, but I guess I don't know that for sure. And I don't believe you have to press the button to turn it on or anything like that at this point. So we're just gonna plug that in and see what happens. Now, it definitely, I can tell it's definitely plugged in because it just changes the state there. Now,
if you take the battery out, well, it just went up to 11.9.
Yeah, so it's gotta be doing something because it wouldn't be going up if it wasn't charging.
Keep an eye on it.
So ironically enough, we do have adapters for that. So if we needed to, we could also charge those on our smart chargers, which we use for smart and non-smart batteries. I hate to say dumb batteries because you guys know what I mean. I don't really care what brand battery you use, but we have had good luck with our Spectrum batteries, so we use those. So hear me right when I say dumb batteries.
Oh, what's your favorite part?
I know, it's a squishy pair. So as you can see, what do you think? I could do all sorts of things with these.
Yes, I'm sure you'll find something in the next 40 years.
I should take those and make them into tires.
You should.
Okay, so that is the most robust, ready to fly transmitter I've seen in a long time. Now I must say there's a few XKs that have good transmitters, but this one here, okay, there's a protective coating on here. I'm gonna just get that peeled because I want you guys to see it in all its glory. There's a little bit of stuff under there. That's disappointing. Hope it's not actually damaged. Or it looks like there might be a crack in the screen. So we have a heart, okay, and then we have SWA5 auto and manual. Okay, so we have 2 antennas. They don't fold. Oh, they do fold. Okay, so you can fold them like this. Okay, then obviously on the back it says DSC. That's interesting. Not sure what that stands for. Then it looks like it takes 4 AA's. There's no rubber grips. These are a little bit slick for my taste. And then trim buttons. a lanyard attachment point, and I must say they are kind of short sticks, okay? So you see that, how that screws out? You could actually put a different stick on there if you wanted to make them longer, but they are trying to make it fit into a relatively small box. And so I guess I can give them a pass on that part. But I mean, that, guys, that is really cool that it comes in a case. I mean, we get a lot of different products to review here on Brian Phillips RC, and I can definitely tell you that having a case like this is a cool feature. I mean, it's probably one of the more unnecessary things I've ever seen, but it's still really cool. So I'm excited to see, because this does have a fail-safe return to home. It has a straight return. It has a 1-button landing. It has a smart low power return. Optical flow positioning, which means it looks at the ground to go up and down. And 6-axis gyro, which we've had for a long time, so no big deal. 2-way transmission, GPS positioning, direct drive brushless motors. What does that say?
Hangable.
Hangable. Oh, hangable. 5.8G FPV cam. Oh, hangable, meaning, yeah, you put it on the battery. Okay, so we'll put this in the background like we would normally do. It's just kind of like cooler than usual. And then obviously the spare parts. Now the spare parts also do include what is just a forward-facing light. Now, on the previous Heli that we reviewed that had the light like this, I don't remember if it was pointable, and it looks like this just runs on a 1S circuit. It's like if we were to take, you can see the circuit board down there. If you were to take this one, let's go ahead and plug it in. Looks like it goes this way, guys. So that little detent goes up. Okay, and then when you press the power button, that's pretty cool. So I like that that's available. Also, you're gonna wanna plug that in second. So once you figure out how it plugs, slide this on, and I think it just slides back until it kind of keys in. The camera looks like it's got a swivel mount there, okay, in the black portion, okay. Then you've got a little release mechanism here. And then this just plugs in, very tidy-like, very short cable. Not gonna cause lots of problems, hopefully. So you've got a little flashlight that came with too, which is pretty cool. It says, please remove the battery after the flight to avoid damage caused by over discharge. Okay, and that stands to reason. Now, if I recall, we opened one of these up on the Blackhawk as well. Oh, and the Blackhawk batteries, I hope will work, but that'd be pretty sweet if we could use those batteries as well. So I didn't realize I left this out, so we'll just put this over here for now. And what we're gonna do next is we're gonna look at this camera and just kind of see what's in the package. Obviously it is kind of a similar to an FPV rig, but I love that it's so small. I love that there's a singular screw involved too. That's kind of cool. Put that on top of the bag. Look at just how stinking small this stuff is. That is so cool. I love it. Singular antenna, battery plug, and then you've got the 3 wires. Okay, so that transmission and reception is going to work with this. And I believe it feeds straight to the actual handheld transmitter, which is why I like this one, because you don't have to necessarily have an external smartphone and you don't have to mount it to the controller, which was a big thing for me. Okay, so without further ado, we're gonna pause, get some batteries, and come right back. All right, so we got batteries to put in the back of this thing. Okay, so 4 AA's. Should be pretty straightforward for you if you're doing this type of a helicopter. Now, this helicopter is the type of helicopter that you can actually fly if you're not an expert, but if you have a little bit of expertise, it will probably survive longer. And I say that not facetiously, but the camera crew laughed. This helicopter is very easy to fly in the right environment. And it's also gonna add some cool features. I'm just peeling off this plastic here. I just noticed that was also protected. But if you have a helicopter that knows how to fly itself, there's one drawback to that. And that is, as you learn to fly a helicopter, it is definitely a different experience than flying planes. But if you know how to fly a plane, you can probably fly a helicopter. You just may not really feel super comfortable with it because the controls are similar. And the other thing is, with a helicopter, you don't have to keep flying forward. You can stop flying forward, obviously. And that's a big factor, and people don't think about that. Okay, so let's turn it on. So I turn it on. There is definitely some damage on that screen. I think it's a scratch or something, maybe. very loud buzzer. High and low rates. You can definitely see some channel readouts, which is pretty cool. Okay, that's taking a picture evidently. And so I'm not sure what this is gonna do or how it's gonna do it, but we're gonna go ahead and get ready to plug in. I think I'm gonna plug in just the camera instead of the light. We'll see if we can connect to it. I'm pretty sure that it's actually separate. Okay, so we're gonna slide this on to the little click on area. Then we're gonna take and we are going to, actually I'm gonna pull this over and I'm gonna go where the camera crew is so I can sit on a chair. Thank you. I need the stuff that's over there though too. There's a screw in a plastic bag. So this screw comes with it and it's very small. You can see there. And then this screwdriver also comes with the Heli. Okay, so it's got that milled end. Okay. So the way that works, I believe you're just supposed to pass this through here. And I think you pass it through the other side evidently. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so I was just trying to decide which one would make better sense. I think you could probably do it either way, but you see the tip of the screw kind of coming through, so I'll pull that out. It's gonna allow you to pivot the camera. And I'm curious about this. Now, some of you guys are probably watching this thinking, okay, so when do the peeping toms get these? Well, fortunately for you, the peeping toms will have to shell out some dough for this, because it's not a super cheap Heli. And the thing is, if you're a peeping tom and you're trying to do some peeping, there's a lot cheaper ways to do it. But at least this, and by the way, I say that facetiously because these cameras don't tend to give near as much fidelity as you think they do. And so that's a reality we've experienced for many, many, many moons. And so we don't want to misrepresent anything here. We want to help show what these items actually do. So I'm gonna plug that power in. Then there's kind of a clip, but it doesn't feel like it's catching. It's just sort of slid on there, sort of superficially. And I feel like it should go further, but it's just not. So I'm not gonna push the issue any further. And of course the antenna is just loose here. So you can see how it's turning on. Okay, so I turn the battery on by holding that down, okay? You can see some lights flashing on there. There's a sequence of red lights. I don't know if you could see that, camera crew, could you see that? Okay, so now that that's done, I'm gonna go ahead and come back to the transmitter and just see if I can. Okay, so I'm gonna press this button. I don't know how to actually, okay, so it says RX is blank and the TX is on. So I'm not sure if that started recording. There is a kind of a flashing light going. See that flashing light?
I do.
It's actually two lights. There's one that flashes, then a second. Now I'm gonna press this again and see if that flashing light stops. Doesn't look like it. So I can't really tell if it's doing anything. I was hoping I could get it to actually show the display here. So we might need to actually do more reading on the manual, but let's go ahead and open up and just see if there's anything at the beginning. Well, there's some stuff there, but I want to get to the, let's see if there's a lintroduction. There is a lintroduction if you guys are looking, so trigger warning. All right, here we go. All right, so the description and the dimensions. Okay, so it looks like this is the information, if you're curious. All right. So it's a 5.8 gigahertz micro FPV camera. So it's, oh, see, this shows you your channels based on where that little light is flashing. Okay, so we're up at channel 1, it looks like. Okay, so that's pretty useful. And then this is just like the quick rundown on how to do the flights. And if you press the mode button again and push the joystick, the helicopter will turn over and fly normal and remove the inverted state. So you can basically fly this thing upside down when it's in the GPS mode and you're over 10 meters, press the mode button and the helicopter will enter reverse prep. Where's the mode button?
Top.
Oh, this one? So once you press that, the heli will flip over and it'll fly just like a normal helicopter, which is pretty cool. We've seen that before too. And, but I mean, not on such a sweet looking model, to be honest. Okay, so how do we actually get the display to show the camera? That's what we're looking for next. So we're gonna find that and come right back and tell you. Okay, so we ran into one thing that's probably noteworthy here, SWC7. So switch C7 is here. In this mode down, it says danger. That locks all the controls and the throttle. So it's gonna crash for sure. So you wanna unlock it to fly, but it's not just a throttle hold. It's gonna stop the servos and everything from working, okay? So just be aware. So we're gonna keep looking for the camera stuff, so we'll be right back.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I was wrong and embarrassed. This screen is only working through a headset, which is super annoying, as you can see me. Whoa,
Wait, hold on.
camera crew.
All I can see it's moving.
Let's look at the camera together. Let's look at the camera looking at the camera. So as you can see, guys,
I want to see if you can actually see
I mean, it's working.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah, of course you can. Oh, am I the right
It's a
setup?
little, you kind of look like a fish, but
Well, that's fine. I always look like a fish, don't I?
I can see you.
Do I look like a fish?
Nope, now it got blurry. Good thing.
Okay, so just to be clear, I am embarrassed that I got tricked by the Chinese yet again. I thought the screen, and I'm kicking myself now because I don't even know where I got that idea, but I thought that this little screen, I don't know why I thought it, was gonna be where we could see the image. And I'm so annoyed because I thought that was the case. Now, that being said, the good news is, the very good news is that the Black Hawk was an awesome helicopter. It's just that I thought, oh wow, if you pair that up with a camera, that's gonna really meet a lot of people's demands. But I guess my review is going to be, yeah, and I mean, unless you've already got FPV gear and you wanna use FPV gear like this, which to be frank is probably a lot better than what you would get in some sort of a live stream down to some crappy, you know, app. We've had it a number of times where we get these like 6K, yeah, 6K cameras. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't even look like 720i, let alone, you know, 6K, give me a break. So it definitely works. I mean, there's definitely footage happening here, which is amazing.
No, I want to look.
Oh, you want to look again?
Yeah.
See, woo, woo,
Oh, yeah.
woo, the camera crew's watching.
I can definitely see.
So,
myself.
and you can definitely use that, and it definitely does really work.
Yeah.
Now, I must say there is one kind of cool advantage to this, and that is given that this is a very concise, very easy to use FPV setup. So, I mean, for a few bucks, and it's like honestly only a few bucks. So it might be worth doing. You know, you could strap this onto another plane and all you need is a 1S battery source to actually energize that. So that's pretty sweet. And then you could do FPV flight. And some of you guys have been asking me for years, why don't you do FPV flying? Why don't you share the footage? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? There's a lot of things that we want to do and we don't have enough time for those. And then the FPV is just not my area of expertise. I don't know enough about it. I don't feel like I can speak from a position of any authority whatsoever. I've done a little teeny bit of the FPV flying. I do have gear. I don't use it often. I don't have a good time with depth perception when it comes to FPV. I struggle with figuring out altitude for doing landings and stuff like that. Plus I enjoy the third person perspective of flight as it pertains to flying radio controlled airplanes. So I just don't have interest in it, but I know a lot of you guys do. And so I don't mean to poo-poo something that you might enjoy. It's just that it's not my cup of tea. So I'm not going to spend a large amount of time expounding on how great it is. And that's what we do on Brian Phillips RC. One of the biggest things we do is share stuff that we enjoy for you to consider in a purchase decision, or for you to be able to say, you know what, maybe that one's not for me. And we do it in such a way that's, you know, we try to be fair to the manufacturer, we try to be fair to you guys and strike some sort of accord there. But on this one, I got the impression, and maybe some of you guys did too, that the transmitter and the receiver was gonna actually display the image, which I was super excited about, thinking finally, I can just open it up and, you know, here it is. And I thought based on the price point, maybe we were in the realm of possibly getting that. And then while we were off camera looking through the manual for like the second time saying, did we miss it somewhere? And I started looking in here and I could see that these were just etched spots on an LCD backlit screen. And I'm like, there's no way it's gonna ever be a color, you know, like a color screen. So that was when I got my first clue. And then, you know, I said, whatever, I'll just go get my Fat Shark headset and see if it goes. So as you can see, it did go. And all I did was just change my channel a few times until I had a connection. It was super easy, worked pretty much immediately. Yeah. As soon as I tried it. And as you can see, it's, you know, in a box that looks like it's been moved from a house. That's because the last time I touched it was when we moved it from our last house. It's just not something that I do a lot. So that was, it's been like 3.5 years, probably.
Yeah, almost 4.
So anyway, for me, this thing's gonna probably come off of here, but it's really cool that we have this nice, concise little package. And I'm gonna end up putting the light on it. I also, while I was downstairs, as you guys may or may not know, I crashed my Blackhawk shortly after we did our first flight. I intended to do more flights with it. And so I was super, super encouraged to see that this one came out. So now that one's released. And I'm just gonna de-energize it and unplug the power very carefully. And that is a small package deal, guys. So now keep in mind, this thing gets hot, hot, hot. Touch it, camera crew.
Oh yeah, you said that a minute ago.
It's hot.
Ooh, yeah.
Like to the touch hot. So pretty cool, and would be real easy to add that to virtually any aircraft. Now, am I going to spend my efforts on flying it with that? The answer is obviously no, because it's not what I do, and I have zero interest in it. Plus then there is some legal ramifications, because if you share aerial footage, then there's certain things that have to be accomplished that I have not and don't intend to accomplish. I don't go into any more detail on a video. So if you have questions, you can ask them privately. But I'm not gonna expound on that anymore, so we'll just go ahead and put that back in there. Now, that being said, if you don't wanna go through the hassle, and by the way, these things are not free, they're expensive. I know, I'm gonna get it.
Okay.
They're expensive, so if you don't already have this stuff, you know, you're looking at probably several $100 to get all set up, batteries, headset, chargers and things like that that you might need, different antenna sets that would work well for your application. And so it's definitely not without consequence, but it's kind of the same thing as anything else. If you got your NX8 and you're hooking up a bind and fly plane, then, you know, you have no additional cost. But if you're hooking up, you know, like a plug and fly and you don't have the NX8, it's a considerable cost. Yeah. But it's not the plane's fault. And in this case, it's not the helicopter's fault. It is my fault for misreading it, but I was duped by the Chinese advertising, because it left me thinking that it was going to include that technology. And so I'm a little bit disappointed in that regard, but I'm super excited about this Heli. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I've already made it up in my mind that I'm not going to fly this up and try to do loops with it and then get stuck sideways with it and then crash to the ground on the asphalt, which ironically, it didn't sustain that much damage.
It didn't.
But it was enough damage that I couldn't fix it. And I said, yep, I'm gonna walk away from it for now, but this thing's gonna be awesome. And so now, in order to demonstrate this helicopter, if I were a better heli pilot, I could probably fly it in this arena because it is such a good flying heli. But because it's also got the GPS connection that is part of the whole application, I want to resist the temptation to try it in here. And here's why. That, and that, and that, and those, and those, and then these are cabinets. They belong to my wife, like, and I don't want to end up dead.
Yes.
Because this thing is a legit heli. It's not just like a little toy heli. If you hit the cabinets with these, you're going to screw up your cabinets and you will be in the doghouse big time. You will be replacing the cabinet door before you're allowed back in the bedroom. I promise you.
We have a cat house out there. It's only sort of covered in snow.
So anyway, so I am going to resist the temptation to do something stupid. I know it's unusual,
yes.
But I am going to show you also, I brought up these other batteries. This should show you some of my junk. This is some of the junk that I have.
These are the things that we store.
These are dirty things that we have.
100 years.
And then like inside of here, I actually got this foam from my neighbor's hot tub lid.
That foam was probably older than most of our children.
But you know what? It worked really good.
Yeah, that.
Look, I have some resistors in there.
Great.
Look, show the people the resistors. See guys, this is why you come to Brian Phillips RC, because where else can you get a view?
You have another squishy thing in here.
I know, that's true.
See,
it's perfect. So this is the way we used to do it. We used to do it like this, and we had lots of LEDs, LED mods and things like that. And that was a totally different vintage and it was wonderful, okay? And then these things, of course, that was part of my history. But I wanted to point this out too. It says full, okay? So these are the batteries that we had on the Blackhawk, okay? So you're gonna note that they are exactly the same. Even with the light plugged in, you should be able to plug that in. You'll get a voltage. Pretty cool, right? So that's very nice. So now we have a fully charged battery. And so we can come on over here and we can plug it in. And the cool thing is, because the light itself is black on this one, it would be considerably similar to the battery that we have here that has a green light, okay? So if you really wanted to make them match, you could paint them black and they would be a perfect fit. Also, you may notice the cartoon-like size of the light, and that is something that can be changed if you decide you want to do it. You just have to have an LED that will work with a 1S excuse me, that's not HXT, that's a micro pH connector, I believe, okay? So you could actually have more LEDs. But this thing comes equipped with LEDs, which we're gonna show you right now, but we're not gonna use the charged battery, we're just gonna show you this, and we're not gonna fly it because I don't wanna cause a problem. Also, you'll note for safety reasons, this stick goes to the middle, okay? I want to make sure this is 100% sure in the locked state, okay? I don't want this thing to spool up because it's quite challenging to disconnect things. Okay, so just make sure you're in the lock mode down here so that you're as safe as possible. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna plug this in. Now there is a power switch in that you have to press and hold this button to actually power it up. This is kind of a unique plug-in system. So it plugs in like this, and then it kind of slides back. And then this snaps down in like that. Click, click, okay? And then you can press and hold that button. And then I don't know if I pressed and held it long enough because as you can see, it doesn't actually have any lights going on. There we go. Okay, so now you can see what's going on right here. See, nothing is going on. Okay, so I'm just gonna momentarily put it in unlock just to see what happens. Okay, so now we should be able to see some movement. It may be searching for GPS. I'm not 100% sure. High, low. And I definitely don't see any movement. I don't want to do any of this stuff. It's an auto versus manual. And it's in, there's GPS return to home and all that stuff is over here. So I don't want to mess with any of those things. But my concern is, yeah, see the light's off. So guys, I'm not sure why that is shutting off. There we go. Okay, now we must be in bind mode. Okay, so there we go. So you have a red. So now we can see the movement. Okay, so I don't know if you guys saw what I did wrong there, but what I did wrong was I was basically not holding that button long enough. Once I hold that button long enough, then everything comes to life, okay? But I definitely don't want to fly it right now because I don't want to cause a problem inside of the house. But look how gloriously amazing that is. It is super pretty. And even without the nose light, it's still really sweet looking. We have lots of LEDs on it. The nav lights on the left and the right side are really bright and really effective. And then if you were to take this off, then it would still look equally amazing. And so as you can see, just an absolutely cool heli. And you can see all the functions there, which is nice. And then I don't know if I pointed this out already, but these things have a spring-loaded action on the landing gear, which really do help a lot because you have squishy tires and you have that spring-loaded action. In our experience on the last one, the tires liked to come off though. So just keep that in mind. It's something that we struggled with. So very cool. And obviously we're not gonna fly it inside of here. You could technically fly it inside of here, but I just don't want to run the risk of crashing it because I am super excited for this heli. And just having a direct drive on both the front and the back is really cool. And it's gonna be so super spectacular in performance. And make no mistake, this thing will do 3D if you want it to do 3D. So guys, that's what you get for today. We learned a lesson today on Brian Phillips RC, and that is don't trust all the Chinese advertising, which we should know better by now, but sometimes I get duped too, and I hope you guys didn't get duped. But at the end of the day, you could still FPV with it if you want. It's just not the way I expected. And so yes, I would love to have that built into the transmitter. I want a standalone transmitter receiver. I want it all built in, and I want it easy. And that way people can use it without too much trouble. But that being said, still an amazing heli. I already know this thing's gonna fly great, and I can't wait to try the upside down flying mode. I think it's gonna be totally sweet, and definitely one of the most gorgeous helis we've ever reviewed. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this footage. If you wanna buy this and help support our partners that send these things out, and also support us with small commissions that come when you guys purchase, you can follow the links in the video description below. And if you don't like this particular item, but you like previous items we've done, or something that you believe we've got coming up, then you can check the links in the video description below as well. Also, we have literally thousands of videos on our channel that you can watch right now. We have entire playlists of videos about certain aircraft, as few as one, as many as like 50 or 60, I think, on some of the most advanced planes. So we definitely want you guys to check them out at your convenience. And if you don't know how to find them, just click on the picture of my icon. That'll bring you to our channel. And then there's a search bar there, or you can just navigate down to the playlist. That's the easiest way to find us. I believe you can search just playlist that way too. But if you still can't figure out what you're looking for, go to www.brianphillipsrc.com. Real easy to find because it's exactly like it's spelled here, B-R-I-A-N, not a Y. And that should make it really easy for you to be able to find what you need, because we have it organized a little bit easier there. And that's just gonna direct you back to YouTube. And then if you make a decision to try to buy something, we have links over there as well. So hopefully that answers all your questions about this heli so far. Obviously we've done the flight, which usually publishes at the beginning of a heli video. And in this case, I can't wait to get it in the air, but of course it's dark now, and we had like a pretty much blizzard most of the day. And so we were like, yeah, we don't want to put it up in a blizzard and just have like a, really bad experience. But this is one of those helis that has enough performance to make up for some wind. And so another thing to keep in mind there. And obviously I think that the transmitter is an all right size. I felt like the Blackhawk had, more conventional transmitter, like what we've seen on some of the XK products and previous products like that. And so I'm not sure how I feel about this. I thought that we were gonna also have the screen built in, but I do think it's an all right size. I'm just not sure I'm crazy about the length of the sticks. So, and I believe there is an S-Bus port on the receiver. And I saw something about that in one of the manuals, so I was gonna point that out just in case you're into that sort of thing. Oh no, it was actually in the manual. So we're beeping now. The gyroscope calibration was covered in here too. You'll wanna look at that. This is one thing I wanted you guys to see. Yeah, if you're using the S-Bus receivers and other remote controls, you will lose some flight functions and cause other uncertain failures, so please consider carefully. And what they mean by that is that you're gonna lose some of the functionality that you expect from the flight controller in here, you may lose. But if you wanna use your Futaba or OpenTX transmitter, then you can do that, which is pretty cool. So, lots to consider on this heli, and definitely worth considering for a purchase. But since I haven't flown it yet, I don't want to speak too much about that. We just know it looks really good, and we have high expectations. But also, we've been burned by that before, because the higher my expectations, the more we're let down when things don't go perfectly. So hopefully this one's gonna go perfectly, and we're just gonna love it. And then also, guys, whatever you've seen in this video, take with a grain of salt, because you have to balance it against my actual skill level, and helis are one of those things that I'm still learning myself, and I'm not as good as flying fixed wing, but I do know my way around helicopters enough that I can fly them upside down a little bit, and I can do that without tons of help, but I'm not very good at it. And I have to flip back to safe or auto leveling or anything like that, or 6G, 3D, whatever they call it, 3D, 6G. So in this case, don't be surprised if that happens, but I'm gonna be super duper careful not to run this into the asphalt because I want to see it fly more than 3 or 4 flights like my last one, because I really was upset with myself when I did that. All right, guys, so much more to come from Brian Phillips RC. Thanks for watching.